On this week's episode of Damsels in the DMs. You hear that, listeners? You don't need a boyfriend. You just need yourself.
Right. There was a Pussycat Dolls song that was like, I don't need a man to make it happen.
This message is intended as a reminder that we are not licensed professionals, not psychiatrists or psychologists. If you have a serious problem, please seek professional help. The National Suicide Hotline is 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255.
There's some damsels in the DM.
Yes, queen.
Tell us what's the vibe. There's some damsels in the DM. Please tell us what's the vibe. DMs, yeah we see them, yeah we read them. DMs, we don't need them, we just leave them.
Please.
Yeah.
It's going down in the DMs. Bye.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Damsels in the DMs. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Alejandro. And today we have Lesli Williams, a relationship and sexuality consultant, life coach, and theta healer, and Reiki practitioner. We also have Andrea Wimberly, who is a serial business owner, creative director, life coach, and commercial landscaper. My goodness,
Damn.
a mouthful, but they shared so many amazing insights on accepting ourselves, loving ourselves. It was really cool. I really enjoyed that conversation.
Yeah. I love how they connected from their trauma and were able to create such a platform to inspire others from that. Alejandro and I connected because he was my boss, but in a way, that's a bonding experience of its own, right? We're forever bonded from that.
Forever bonded from that experience.
To create
That
something like
environment. Yes, and we're still continuing to create amazing experiences for ourselves and for others. So let's get into it, shall we?
Let's do it. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We have Lesli and Andrea with us today. Hello to Lesli and Andrea.
Hello.
Hello. We are very happy. Thank you for having us, guys.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so much
for
for
coming
being
on.
here.
Thank you.
So just to kick it off, it's so fun to have 4 people on the podcast today, but your work has been so inspirational and so empowering to read about. So please just tell the listeners what you guys have been doing, how you connected, and the mission behind the platform that you've created.
It was very interesting because when we met, we bond right away because of how our stories. I am Brazilian. I was born in Brazil, raised in Brazil, but I live in 4 different countries. And when I met Andrea and we share our stories, it was crazy because we went through the same challenges, but I was in Brazil and she was in the US.
Yeah. So, and I grew up in LA, born and raised, and went through a lot of my childhood traumas and a lot of the things that I grew from. We had similarities in our conversation, so we bonded over that. We bonded over our healing journeys and things like that.
Yeah.
And was this an event that you connected at, or how did your paths cross?
Yes.
Well, I moved into her building. We are neighbors.
Yes. Yeah, so we moved it. We're neighbors, and then we also believe in empowering women, helping women, and just being in their divine feminine. And so we started a movement called the Unstoppable Me. This is a series of workshops, courses, and retreats that we're putting on. And our next one is going to be in February. So we'll tell you more about that.
Yes. So basically what happened is that we, without knowing, we had the same purpose in life.
Yeah.
And when we met, it was impossible not to start a project together, because as I was saying, when I share my story,
yeah,
and she shared her story, I said, we got to do something for women. This is my purpose. And she said, this is my purpose too.
Yeah.
So it was super strong, and then we started the project.
So you guys both describe yourselves as relationship and sexuality coaches. Were you both already in that career path before you met each other?
Yeah, I am a business coach, life coach, a wedding relationship coach, theta healer, Reiki. So I started my journey after healing. I said, okay, I gotta develop all the knowledge that I can, acquire all the knowledge that I can to help women. So I was doing on my own, theta healing, Reiki, all this. And then when I met Andrea, then we started to do it together.
Yes. Yeah, so basically I started off just on this healing journey and working with different women that I was coming across that were also on their journeys. And it was always inspiring and a passion of mine to help other women deliver themselves from whatever they're dealing with or need to heal from. So that was definitely my door, and helping as many women as I possibly can.
So was the event curation the first endeavor that you decided to collaborate on, or was there something else prior?
Well, I did a few things on my own before. And one of the things that I shared with Andrea, that we now do together, is getting a group of friends and go to the desert. And we all go for stuff. We all have our pains. We all have our challenge. So like 5 friends that are struggling in some area of their lives. And we always share our stuff with our friends, right? Our friends are always our therapists. So we go together and stay in this beautiful environment, and then it's a weekend of healing, and you heal with your friends. So you know each other and you support each other, and we apply techniques throughout the retreat, right, together with the friends. And we did this ourselves, the two of us, and then now it's one of the things that we did together.
That's cool. It's like a pay it forward sort of situation. I can imagine how it would perpetuate not only positive experiences for everyone participating, but then I'm sure by word of mouth, it has grown successfully, I'm sure, right?
Yes, definitely. A lot of people are having this conversation of, what does growth look like? What is healing like? How do I do that? And a lot of what I do is I believe in self-care, and in implying that to your life every day is important, because you think about how you are going through something, you heal yourself. If you don't practice things that you learn, sometimes you get stuck in like how, and you forget that there's tools for you. And so the thing about it is having constant conversation with your friends and people that validate you, help you as well. So this is something that we also teach.
And I'm curious because you talked about how you both related based on some of the challenges that you had went to and the trauma that you had recovered from. Could you talk a little bit about, as much as you're comfortable with, what that looked like and how it connected you two to each other, and why it inspired you to go help other people recover from similar things?
Sure. I was born with a lot of physical limitations. I'm a twin. So my legs were crooked. My hands were like this. I was cross-eyed. I have heart issues. So my childhood was full of challenges. I was bullied at school until I was probably 15, 16 years old. So I had no relationship with my body. I hated my image. I had all you can imagine regarding self-rejection, low self-esteem. And I come from a country that machismo, it's very strong. So on top of that, we have that culture. So I suffer since I was a little kid. I had to start to relate with my body and myself, and in a way, that I could never imagine. So once I healed from the physical issues as a teenager, then I started to say, okay, no one is going to stop me now, right? And thanks to sports, it saved my life, because it gave me confidence step by step, and the relationship with myself. And when I met Andrea, that was one of the things that oh my God, I can't believe you know what I'm talking about. We can resonate, right?
Yeah, definitely. Some of the things that man, as a child, I moved around a lot, and I had to adapt to different spaces and learn how to be, likable at a young age. And a lot of times, I was stood out from the crowd. I was tall, I was dark skinned, I was different. I wore glasses, and I remember, having to learn how to be likable and what that looked like as a child, and why asking my mom questions, why don't people like me, and they don't know me, and things like that. And I've developed the learned sense of people pleasing, and I didn't even know what that was until I got a little older and understood. And I think that is a lot of challenges those are a lot of challenges people face as well. People pleasing, it's a learned behavior, and it's something that it can be reversed, but we have to identify certain things in our childhood and adulthood as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then going through the adult life, when I started to date, for example, as I have no self-esteem and a crazy self-rejection, nothing love, as Andrea said, I would allow anything just to have that little bit of attention, right? And there we were hurt even more, because I not only went through all the pain, right, physically, now I was allowing a guy to do whatever he wanted with me, right? Because I didn't have any self-love.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely experienced a lot of that. And I think that definitely is so common among women, that people pleasing that you talk about, and feeling like you need to be accepted by everyone, which you really don't. I was also bullied at a young age, and it really altered my relationship with men. And I talk a lot about on this podcast, like growing up under the male gaze, and growing up like you feel like your self-worth and your appearance is all just to please men. The new thing that I've been saying to myself lately, which I've been loving, is that it's you versus you. Because I think like as women, we're always like comparing each other to somebody else. Like, oh, this person's more successful, this person's more beautiful. And I think it is so powerful when we as women can come together and just really support each other and lift each other up, which is why I'm so inspired by what you guys are doing. So can you talk a little bit about some of the tools that you offer in these workshops and in your coaching with your clients, how you advise women to take their power back, and how you advise them to break some of those people-pleasing habits?
Right. So in private sessions, for example, the first focus is to help them to look inwards, because a lot of the pain comes from the fact that we are pleasing everyone outside of us. And you go in this automatic mode, and then you don't stop to breathe and look at yourself. So the first exercise, for example, that I do in a coaching session is ask this question: how is the relationship with the most important person in your life going? Yourself. So when I ask this, a lot of my clients go, oh, because we think about everything that we got to do, and this and work and blah, blah, blah. And then what about me?
Yeah.
And then, and I literally write, what do I want? What is my purpose in all areas of my life? So it started with this. So this is an example of a private session. So Andrea,
definitely. I similar. Mine is very action based as well, where every day I believe in rituals. I believe in self-care rituals. Being intentional is huge, and every day you should apply something that brings joy to you. Always coming from a place of love, always coming from a place of boundaries as well. I think boundaries are huge. People think that it's offensive, but it's for you and the other person to have a clear set of things in your life. And so a lot of what I do is actionary. I believe in those self-care rituals that allow you, for example, for the shower. You know, you get in the hot shower and you dry brush or wet brush and things like that. I think that that is a way you can touch your body and get familiar with yourself, give more love to yourself by you feeling, you know, washing off or dry brushing and things like that. That is a way that you can get more familiar with yourself and bring more love to yourself. So yeah.
I really appreciate that. I feel like another thing that I try to do is practice gratitude, or at least like expressing some form of, yeah, gratitude. And when I first start the day, and then throughout it, like, I don't know, it's just a funny little, not funny little thing, but I think it's important to.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
very important. Yeah.
Because gratitude, when we are grateful for something that we receive, right? Just being grateful, even if you're not receiving, this is what the energy that you're putting out and you're going to receive.
Yeah.
So just exactly. So this is one of the tools that I teach on theta healing. Theta healing is a practice that takes the person to a theta state through a guided meditation where your subconscious mind is open. So we give commands to the subconscious mind to remove the limiting belief that is holding back the person and replace to a new one. So it's because we are trillions of cells in our body, we are energy. So everything that we speak, everything that we put out is going to vibrate in a certain way and is going to come back to us in a certain way as well. It's law of attraction, right?
Absolutely. And vibrations too. And I love that you're talking about like frequencies and wavelengths and how we have so much of an influence on what goes on around us as well as within. Like I started listening to Schumann resonance. I found out about it and I was just like, the ionosphere. Oh my God, this is fascinating. But like it really is cool to like explore and see the impact that some of these pieces of information might have on, you know, well-being and like wholesomeness. It's really cool. And in particular with the practices that you're describing, it's amazing to see how easily achievable it is to put these routines into practice on a regular basis.
Yeah. Another one that's a really amazing one is affirmations. You hear that a lot today. And it is so, to me, the essence of instant gratification, because you can say, I am, and you are that. So you embody that as you say it, you know? And so one of the things that I teach in my private lessons is like looking in the mirror and saying these affirmations. Go around your home, say these affirmations as well, you know, while you want, for example, while you want people to walk into your home, you want to you say affirmations of what they're going to experience, and same for yourself. So you can use affirmations as a way for instant gratification because you are that.
Yeah, and for example, in the workshops, we bring information and knowledge. So one of the things that we bring is a lot of neuroscience information. So once, for example, once I understood how my brain worked, I could understand, okay, so that's why I was going cuckoo crazy after that guy, you know? And then I developed what a lot of women develop without even knowing: emotion dependency. Because when we are making love, we produce a lot of oxytocin in our brain. And then that attached woman. Right? And we get attached and we don't know why we get attached. Right? And we don't know why we feel so, when we are close to that guy, we feel, oh my God. It's because the levels of the dopamine are so high in our brains, right? And serotonin levels are low. So in the workshop, for example, I love dancing. Dance had been part of my life, had healed me. So when we dance, for example, we are producing dopamine. And dopamine is the hormone related to well-being. When we feel, you know, that sensation, that good sensation. So we put together dance, and we make women get in touch, for example, with your body. Be grateful for your feet. Be grateful for your legs. And instead of judging my feet and looking at the mirror, because as you were saying, we compare a lot because this is what we were told to do. Right?
Right. No, I love that. I also am really big into gratitude and meditation. For me, the meditation is not always about myself, but almost more about how I'll treat other people if I don't meditate. I feel like I need to do that in the morning so that my vibes can be pleasant and calming when I meet you. And I think it's just helpful to have that moment to center and ground. But I'm curious because, as you guys were mentioning, you talk a lot about mantras and rituals and creating awareness in your work. So, what are some of the ones that you implement in the workshops and even with your clients to make sure that they do consistently, or that you think helps them to set them on this journey of self-love and self-empowerment?
Yeah, so some of the mantras, just like the one that I was saying, the affirmation one is huge because it is instant to whoever is, or it's whatever they want to be, they can present themselves. They can say, like, this is what I'm working on. I want to do this, and I am this, I'm embodying that, right? So that is a huge mantra to do, and anyone can do it. You can do it in the car, you can do it wherever. And that is something that we implement. We definitely talk about confidence and just having this, making sure that you're always coming from a place of love. So making sure you're having these conversations of love with yourself and with others, that is a huge thing you can do for yourself.
Yeah. And for my clients, usually first thing that I ask is, okay, what you are into? Do you like dancing? Do you like music? Do you like sports?
Yeah.
So this has got to be your first mantra, because when we have passion for something, right, that opens an opportunity for us to start to shift that passion to ourselves. So of course, the first part is the relationship that you have with yourself, and you mentioned meditation. First thing, meditation. And when I talked about meditation, I always said, okay, whatever you believe, if you are Buddhist, whatever you're Christian, it doesn't matter. Once you have faith and once you develop a relationship with God, or whatever you believe that is unconditional, then you're going to find love. So that must be a priority. And then get to know my client, because this is very important to work with how the person is, what is the personality, what she likes, right? And go from there. Okay, so now that we found that we would love to meditate and is your priority, let's turn into a ritual. How are you going to do that? How are you going to take that moment for you and start to shift and have that unconditional love for yourself first? So it's very important.
I'm in awe of how amazing everything sounds, mainly because you both have such a wealth of knowledge of all these tools that you're able to give to your clients and at these experiences that you create. But I can't help but wonder, what have each of you learned in this process, both individually and collaboratively?
Good question.
So the first thing that I learned is that anything is possible, that's why the name of the project, we are unstoppable. There's nothing that we cannot do or be or have a purpose. That's what I found when I was able to shift my awareness and have this relationship, in my case, was with God, intimate with me, right? With God in me, with love in me. Then I realized and I felt and I lived, right, that life is beautiful. It's a challenge. We are unstoppable. We can be, do, have, whatever.
Yeah, I definitely concur. I agree. I would say for sure, we talk about manifestation. You manifest what you want and this and that. But I believe manifestation is about who you are and where who you are inside. And so when you ask for these things, what does that person look like? What does she do? What does he do? Like, what does that look like? And the fact that you can create anything that you want, and just how Leslie was saying, we embody that. We can do, it's impossible, it's unstoppable. You can do anything. And so same thing with manifestation. We are our manifestations. So you hear it all the time, like, I just asked for that, and then there it is. Yeah, because that's who you are. We're powerful. We're so powerful. And that is a huge thing to learn, is how to use your power. Because you can, it's at your fingertips.
So it reminds me of hearing one time that we are the creators of our own life's masterpiece. And I was just
Oh,
hearing
I
that. I was
love
just like,
this.
"Ooh,
Yes.
yes, I'm down for
Yeah,
I love
that."
So just so that I can be the bearer of bad news and let Alejandro be the bearer of positivity, what's been the hard part of doing this? What's the part that you've had to grow from and really like, we like to think about things on this podcast as a path, and paths have hills, paths plateau, and then they have parts where you can just enjoy the valleys and see how beautiful the world is. But what's been the part where you had to go on the uphill climb and then come out the other side to see the beauty of the work you're doing?
Yeah.
So for me, it is the fact that some people, they don't want. And it's very important to understand when you are with a client, always say, okay, this is about compromises with you. And you see the suffering, you see the person going through so much. And I've been there. I know, okay, you can't get out of this situation, but I have to respect the free will. It's my duty. So it's hard. Sometimes it's hard because we are in this mission. We would like everyone, right, to heal themselves and to find joy, purpose. And then people have the right to not want it at that moment. And this is really challenging. It is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that people feel, first of all, challenge is good. People think that challenge is it's too hard, it's impossible, and this learning, that's a learning limiting belief.
Yeah.
But overcoming your challenge is huge, because that's where growth lives, and so just being able to be in this headspace of, okay, power of the pivot. I'm going to pivot if I need to. You'll see challenges a little bit different, and that is the biggest thing, is taking people out of the comfort zone and allowing them to find what works for them. And so being in a space where, or helping them get to a space where those challenges look like pivots. So
I love that answer.
Yeah, and sometimes, for example, I have family members that are not in the path for healing, and it also, it's a challenge, right? So it's, and I think for me it was very freeing for me. It was, I set myself free when I could understand that people have free wills and they have the right to be in that moment, and it's my mission to love them as they are, exactly in the moment that they are. And sometimes the best gesture of love for a client, even for someone that you love, is just to let them go, the way they want to be.
That's hard. And I imagine that it's hard, dealing with that every day and knowing that, like, you can't help somebody if they don't want to be helped. So how do you make sure that you're helping yourself along the way while you're prioritizing everybody else and prioritizing all of these people around you? How do you make sure that you're keeping your mental health in check and that you have a balance between your love life, your friendships? I'm not sure where you are both in your love journey, but we'd love to hear about how you achieve that holistic balance.
So I do it every morning when I start my morning in bed. I do my first meditation while still in bed. And whatever I'm feeling in the day, if I have any discomfort, if I'm feeling sad, if I'm feeling anxious, whatever I'm feeling, I focus and understand what is the limiting belief and apply theta healing to myself to understand where it comes from. And this is no stop. It's unstoppable. Once I learned it, I knew it's going to be for the rest of my life. And and it's just something that I want to keep doing. And I believe it's my responsibility to do it as a professional, but also we have to do it every day. Every day. Some days you're gonna feel and I need to figure out why I'm feeling right.
Yes, I agree. For myself, it definitely starts with education, always, and making sure that you're feeding your brain, or you're giving awareness to. And I think that the more you do that for yourself, you prioritize yourself, you can balance everything else. Is a trickle down. So you feed, you nourish your body, nourish your mind, you will nourish others around you as well. It's just inevitable. And so, and you'll want them to also be on this path with you. Obviously, everyone has their own journey, but maybe from your awareness, that others will follow their awareness. And so this is something I learned as well. Past relationships, traumatic relationships, where I had to understand what my self-care looked like before the other person's self-care, because they couldn't help where they were, and that was just their mindset. And as being able to separate that through boundaries was huge for me. And another reason why I went on this journey, because I know a lot of women are suffering from traumatic relationships, unfortunately, from situations. And maybe they didn't learn, or gaslighting is huge, and some people don't even know that they're being gaslit. And so, but learning, once you get out of these head spaces where you're bogged down with all of these things, learning the tools to have those self-care practices, and have those mindsets that help you and push you forward in your journey is so important. And it really starts with those boundaries, and understanding what boundaries are for yourself, and then what practices you can do, which, you do different meditations, you can do self-care, you can do education. It just really depends on per person.
I was just going to ask if you're in relationships now.
Well, I am. Maybe.
Maybe. Oh, suspense.
Yeah, I am with myself.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's going well over there.
Yeah, I think that it's so important to really have that love for yourself, that connection to yourself. I think that that's the most, like Leslie was saying, that's the most important relationship you have is with yourself.
Yeah.
And people don't think about that, because they're, day to day, kids, family, and who knows. But
and I'm glad that you asked that question, because being single, at this stage of my life, it's totally different than when I was in my 20s, for example, because there's no rush, there's no anxiety, there's no need to be in a relationship. It will happen as it needs to happen at the right moment, right? And because once you are in this place of a self-awareness, so still talking about your previous question, when you have self-awareness, when you have self-knowledge, and you look inwards, everything is way more easier to face in life, right? It's calm. And I love to be in a relationship with myself. At the time that it happened, it will happen, right? So, and a lot of single women, unfortunately, are still dealing with the anxiety of having someone, the need of having someone, because they are still not in the place of, first, my priority, self-love. I love myself, and they cannot be by themselves without the, oh my God, I need someone, right?
Yeah, that's so true. You hear that, listeners? You don't need a boyfriend. Just need yourself.
Right? There was a Pussycat Dolls song that was like, I don't need a man to make it happen. But I'm curious though, that you have your clients, you have your one-on-ones, you have the experiences that you have created, but is there some sort of book that's out there? I'm imagining, I mean, just from the sounds of your voices, I can like probably put myself to sleep and wake up to your voices every single day with
Oh my
some sort
goodness.
of help and ritual in my mind. So
Thank you.
yeah, is there, like I said, is there a book or how is your information being disseminated?
So we are starting to put together online courses, right? And I was already working on my book, and Andrea
Same,
too.
yes, yes. 2023 has a lot
Yes.
to look forward to for sure.
Yes.
Definitely a lot, a lot, a lot. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. So the idea of the online courses is because when
Yeah.
you have hands-on,
Yeah.
you
yeah.
learn. So it's not going to be only share materials,
Yeah.
but we're going to have videos, but we also will have a way that is interactive,
Yes.
and the client or whoever is taking the course
Yeah.
needs to do tasks,
Yeah.
right? To learn.
Workbooks.
Like, yes, one of
Workbooks
the
are
things are
huge.
workbooks.
Yeah, being able to write down, I believe in journaling is a huge thing as well. And some of us had diaries when we were kids and didn't even realize like that was a huge part of the process of growing and growth and evolving. And a lot of that, the courses will entail workbooks as well, where people can reflect on what they're learning and apply.
I know that we're going to have a lot of listeners lined up to purchase those. So please let us know so we can share that when it comes out. But Lesli, you brought up that you meditate in bed every morning. Andrea, you brought up that you have the journaling. What are your non-negotiables? We like to ask about morning routines. I know not everyone has a morning routines, but what are the healthy habits that you feel like you need to do wherever you are, whether you're doing a workshop, whether you're on vacation? These are the non-negotiables that you stick by to develop the way that you are.
Yeah, in my case is meditation. Whatever you want to call meditation, prayer is that moment of my day, half an hour of my day at least.
Half an hour. Wow.
Yeah. So when I'm starting laying down that, I usually do a 11-minute breathing exercise, right? To start my day with my brain all ready, and then meditate. And when I'm walking my dog, when I'm driving, and I learned in the spiritual path that I follow to take these challenges where our awareness should be outside and shift and connect. So that is non-negotiable. I mean, and it's what keeps me going, in this path of being connected with self.
Yeah, the biggest non-negotiable I have is educating myself in the morning as soon as I get up. I don't want to be bothered by anything else but listening to something that's going to have me evolve and thrive. So I put that in my ear. I put a little Bluetooth in my ear if I need to go for a walk. My walk is another non-negotiable that I have. I need that in the morning in order to get going and clear my mind. It allows me to be alone. It allows me to have this space where I can reflect on whatever I'm dealing with and or thinking about or trying to achieve. And so just definitely those are the two biggest things, is listening to something that nourishes my thought process, my thinking, and just going on a nice walk. Sometimes for an hour, just exiting. I don't look at my phone. I'll just put my Audible on or put on, my YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah, sports as well. Every day, try to do something to move your body.
Yes.
Well, it was what healed me. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for sports. And but I think, and it's one of the things that I explain to my clients: find passion for moving your body, whatever is that you are inclined to. If it's dance, sign up. because when we are moving, we are producing all these wonderful things in our brains, right? That's going to help us to have the drive, for life, the inspiration, move. I moved in 4 different countries. But I think one of the reasons was because I hit myself for sports, right? And definitely it's another thing that is a no negotiable.
Yeah. I definitely think that too, anyone thinking about, oh, what's my non-negotiable, I think being able to try different things is important too, because sometimes it's a trial and error type of experience where you have to just see, like, for my experience, sometimes I just listen to my intuition, and my spiritual will come through and my intuition will tell me what I need at that moment. Sometimes I just need to wake up to some good music, and I just want to be uplifted in that way. And so I just wake up dancing and make my bed and, and do my thing. And sometimes it is just being in a focused state of mind. So it really depends. Listening to your intuition is the biggest advice that I would give to anyone. And getting there is a journey as well, to open yourself up to that. Being spiritual is another way that I was able to get closer to my intuition, and feeling myself out and saying yes or no to things that I like.
Well, I think now is the perfect time to get into our DM questions. So we have 2 DM questions. We'll start with the first one, which is, please tell us about the funniest or most inspirational DM you have ever received.
For this one, I just have to say, like, I feel like after this happened a while ago, but after I was in my, I blew up, or what do people say? Glow up. I glowed up, and I started posting my photos. I liked myself more, and I was just feeling myself. And, lo and behold, in the DMs, I just happened to check, and it's an old love, old ex comes talking about, ooh, like, you look great. You've changed. You look, all of these things. And I realized at that very moment, I was like, we're no longer compatible because I have evolved from you. I grew up. My mindset is different. And oftentimes this happens when you evolve and you nourish yourself, you will end up growing up in past old relationships. And you laugh about it because they're in the DMs, like, if I had you one more time, or like, if I was with you, what I would do different, and this and that. And but it's too late.
I love that, because I think about that all the time, how sometimes, like, your mind will take you back to a past flame. And we get a lot of listeners who write in and they ask, like, can you get back together with your ex? How to get back together with your ex? People want to do that. And I think they lose sight of how much they've grown and how much they've changed, that you wouldn't want to when you are truly in a relationship with yourself, like you guys talk about. Then you usually are way beyond that past relationship that you grew from. So I love that.
Yeah, and if you are still in that mode, you're still, this is something that we also teach. If your mind's still going back there, it's because there's something. It's not about the guy that is back there. It's something that you need to figure out that's still in you, that is bringing that emotion back. Right. So it might be some limiting belief or something that you need to work on, just to let go of that. Right. Yeah. And it's funny because just the other day I showed the DM that my ex sent me, remember, on Instagram.
Whoa.
That's how our stories, that's how we both, I just showed her. And exactly what she said. And it's funny because it was someone that it was a while ago, and I didn't see the message because, when someone sends you and you're not a friend and you cannot see,
you were living your best life.
And it's funny because somehow he thought that I was ignoring him, and I didn't see the message. which is made me see that that he's still in that mode, still the same. And what was inspiration for me is that now I see it wasn't him. So we need to take responsibility for what it's ours. I was in the moment that I allowed that. So I attract a guy. He's just living his life. He was always like this, you know. And so I was in the moment that I allowed that. So it was super fun. I laughed with her. We were laughing because it felt very good in a sense that, oh my God, now I can look. And not in a bad way, thinking, oh, he's this, he's that. No, it's understanding that we are different people in different moments. We choose different paths, and he helped me grow. So, you know, I answer, I'm okay, thank you, and I'm grateful. I am grateful for what he taught me, what he showed me. You know, the mirror that he brought me, that I could work on myself. Of course, I didn't tell him that. But
No, but I like what
that
you're
was
saying, 'cause
funny. It was just the other day, right?
Yeah.
no, that's important. I love what you're saying too, as far as like being able to identify what worked and what didn't work, and not holding it in one's mind as like a negative thing, whatever may have happened. It's more so a priority to focus on what was taken away from the experience, or how we can blossom and flourish from whatever experiences may have been shared.
Yeah, because then you move on and you grow. It's what we were saying before. What if I was still back then? I had, okay, what do I still need to work on myself? Why I'm still feeling this way? Why I'm still, for example, if I wanted him to suffer, oh, I want him to suffer. Now it's the time. No, I have to work on myself to understand why do I need it, right?
Oh, we have another DM of the week ask. So it is, how can Reiki be used to become high value women? And what does that mean in your words?
To become a high value woman, first thing is to look inwards, as we said. So that's what we teach. First priority is to look at myself. And then looking at all areas of my life, for example, what I would like to be in this area, you know, in my financial area, in my career, and you know, in spiritual, and my relationship, my emotions, my mental state, my relationships with my friends, with my family, with my dog, with everyone, right? And where I want to be. So once you understand that all these relationships and all areas of your life will happen once you started with yourself, then things happen. Then it's a blessing, you know. It's like what I'm saying. I feel it's a very good feeling to have this message coming, because I did it. I had to do it. I did it. I prioritize the way I felt. So no one can take that. No one can take that away from me. So that's what makes us unstoppable once we understand it.
How you show up for yourself. That's high value women show up for themselves in all areas, and they're able to decipher what, you know, things that they want, things that they don't want, their non-negotiables, their boundaries, and being able to be in their divine feminine as well. So being in your divine feminine is just showing up in a way that you have the confidence. You're coming from a place of love. You're you have different things that you journal, you reflect, you evolve every day, and that's how you lead that high value life as well. It's how you show up.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think it's very important to bring this subject of non-self judgment in the path, right? Because when you look inwards, and then if you start to judge yourself because of the way you feel, or because I did that, then you're not accepting. Looking inwards, accepting. It's okay.
Mhm.
I was cuckoo crazy. I did crazy stuff, and I'm angry with this guy or my boss or whatever,
Mhm.
right? It's okay.
Mhm.
It's okay. We are all human beings.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, tell us, please, how can all of our listening human beings find each of you on social media or find out more information about possibly attending one of your workshops online, virtually, or in person? Take it away.
Yeah. So we would like to invite you. I know you guys are not here, but anyway, we're inviting you to be with us in LA
Thank you.
on February the 19th and the 20th. We are bringing from Brazil an international speaker, a writer, a neuroscientist, and the king of Tantra. And he's going to be with us, Jivan Pramod. I am, one of the certifications that I have is from his method. Basically, what he did is put together neuroscience and Tantra. Just to explain, because probably listeners don't know what it is. Tantra, it's a philosophy, it's a practice that works with all the sensorial energy that we have in our body to create connection, intimacy, and love. First with yourself, and then with your partner. So it has been practiced for millions, millenniums, and it's a beautiful practice. And we also incorporate this in our workshops and the private sessions. So it's going to be super fun, because we're going to have a full day of exercises and practices that we can learn with for to work on ourselves on a daily basis, and also to achieve bond again, because a lot of couples with time, with the routine, they lose intimacy, right? They don't look at each other anymore, they don't touch each other anymore. So it's going to be very fun. We're going to have the dance therapy. It's all a full day of self-care, right?
Sounds amazing.
So that's in February. But you can also we're going to be doing a series of lives and just explaining more about what we want to say with the Tantra and with our workshops. And that's going to be on Instagram. You can find me under Andrea.Wimberly, and then Lesli
Williams. And we also like to offer to you guys and all your listeners a free consultation. So if you guys want to understand a little bit more of how we can help you and become unstoppable. And also we are putting together for 2023 another I think probably in March after spring break, another retreat in the desert. So, and throughout the year, we are always doing workshops, always doing retreats, and it's super fun. It's not, oh, I'm gonna go and watch this, speaker. No,
it's very interactive.
Yes, a lot of laugh. A lot of laugh. We actually do laugh exercises because it helps you to heal.
Awesome.
Dancing, super
you guys
fun.
are so incredible, and that sounds like the best thing ever. I think I'm going to be on the next plane just waiting for February for that to happen. So thank you so much for sharing that with us and our listeners. We cannot tell you how grateful we are to have your power, your wisdom, and your beauty today.
Thank you so much.
Likewise.
We're very grateful.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Damsels. As always, please subscribe, rate, and review if you like what you're hearing. If you don't like what you're hearing, let us know. We want that feedback too. And please make sure that you do so on your favorite podcasting platform.
And tune in always. We have exciting guests that are coming on that are going to be able to help us move forward with our goals, our growth, and happiness and perseverance. My goodness. keep tuning in.
And make sure that you send us your DMs. We still want to hear all of them. We'll make sure that on social media you can follow us on Damsels in the DMs, and we'll make sure to share who's coming on so that you can let us know questions that you may have for them, questions that you may have for us, things that you'd like to be informed about, people you want us to have on. We want to hear about all of it.
That's it. That's right. Until next time.
It's going down in the DMs. Bye.
DMs, we don't need them. We just leave them.
Please.
Yeah.
It's going down in the DMs. Bye.